Hey guys, this is Links. I haven't shot a video for this group for a while, so I'm going to do that right now. Someone brought up an interesting point, and I really don't get this. There's this whole weird argument going on about Lenormand and how you have to read it one way or another, and I don't get it. Years ago, long time ago, um, when I was doing historical reenactments, I was always on the lookout for decks that were reproductions of a historical thing. At the time, I don't do that anymore, but I did at the time, and I found this little Lenormand. It's around here somewhere. It's just a little sepia Lenormand with a little tiny picture, and there were tiny cards, and they were brown with sepia. It's Madame Lenormand's fortune deck or something like that. Anyway, I got it around here. I can show you guys in another video. But I bought the deck on a site I saw. It came in the mail. I went to the event and I just started throwing the thing. It was a one-page direction thing. It came with it, and it had the grand tableau on it. And I said, okay, this is the way you lay them out. So I did that. I laid them all out, and then I just looked at it and I started reading people, and just the way I did tarot or any other deck. So I mean, I don't get it. I mean, there's this whole, well, you have to use these card you obviously use card combinations, and I always, just from the beginning, would look at if a card was tilted and pointing at another would tell me something. I mean, I don't get it. There's this whole, you can't read it this way, you can't read it that way. So someone said, um, can I mean, tarot, you can just ask it to tell you what you need to know in the tarot will, but you can't do that with Lenormand. I don't get that. So these are my Lucky Links fortune cards. This is the first oracle I designed myself. These are my own, so it's just my personal deck, but I made it for myself because there was certain imagery I wanted on these things, and certain. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shuffle here, and I'm going to say, all right, this is how you do it. So someone comes to you and says, okay, this is the person who asked the question. What one thing does that person need to know? Okay, so this is how I'm gonna do it. I'm just shuffling until I feel it's done, and then what thing does that person need to know? Okay, so it's the child. Okay, this is telling me that first of all, you are never too old to get the results that you want out of life. Your health and your wellness is dependent upon your mindset. Um, there are things that you need to know about being childish about certain situations and not clinging to certain outdated attitudes. Identity stuff, when you cling to something like a child and say, well, this is who I am, and it inhibits all other things. Did you ever get in a fight with a child and they're like, no, I don't want to do that. That's not the way I am. It's not my idea. Watch for that kind of behavior yourself. So if you define yourself a certain way and it ends up alienating others or putting others on the outside, it's being childish. It's being immature. But maturity is being able to say, okay, look, you're on the opposite side of the situation. What are you reflecting in me too? Because we notice with kids will always get into a fight with someone over something that they're doing. We do the same thing as an adult. Okay, so the things that piss you off about other people are actually, watch yourself for you're doing it too. Kids are a perfect example. Watch how kids do this. Sometimes it's okay to play, but sometimes don't let your play take you out of what's really important, your goal. So sometimes it's like, well, I have a goal, and then I start to play, and then you forget the goal entirely, and you've lost it. Okay, so those are the things that you need to know. Okay, and that's how you use this, and that's how I would use this, and then you can go, okay, in what area is this most happening? Okay, so then I'd shuffle a couple maybe, and I split a couple times, and then it's death. Okay, so I'd say in the area of letting things go, of the area of letting certain things in your life, certain experiences that you've let in your life, you need to let certain things lie. You need to let certain areas, stop dredging it up, stop dredging up the past, and move forward. And then you can feel new again. Also, when you end one phase of your life and begin a new, stop going back to the old one and trying to connect it, because then you don't have fresh, clean energy. Okay? Does that make sense? So that's how I would use these, just like any other thing. I don't get it. But the philosophy is different, I guess, in that and I have said this in other videos, there is a being in each deck. And you just asked the being what they mean by it. Don't worry about traditional meanings. And okay, here's this thing. Someone said, well, there's these traditional meanings. Where do you think they got those traditional meanings? Where do you think those individuals got the meanings? Where do you think they came from? A, and B, just because one person wrote down their meanings doesn't mean that the entire world of people who will ever divine have to go back to that one person's. What if that person was a dick? You know, did you ever meet a reader who was a dick? They might have been like a decent reader, but they were a dick. And then you're like, well, I'm going to bind myself to this dick's meanings for the rest of my life because it was on a piece of paper somewhere. We put far too much, and as an ex-college teacher, I'm going to tell you, we put far too much emphasis on things that are written down, and that we put those things in stone, and we can never grow or become bigger or dynamic or fluid. And that's the other thing. And that's another one with this one, okay? Life cannot be young, fluid, and supple and adaptable like a willow tree if we want to bind ourselves to the past and that which is old and dusty and entombed. That which is in a book is entombed forever. Life is supple and alive and fluid. And that's the message for that individual too, who asked that question, okay? So remain fluid and supple and go with the energy that is present in the moment. Don't bind yourself to dusty old, things that are past and gone and entombed, okay? That's how you do it. If you have any questions, put them below, and I'd be happy to tell you what I know from my own experience. And remember, this is my own experience as I'm sharing it. I am not the be-all, end-all on divination. This is just my experience.